I know Troy talked about the COP officers, but I know the chief is still here. I wish he would give us his insight as to why he had to make that decision, if that's okay, Bruce.
Yeah, Chief Buckner.
I did read the memo.
The basic gist of why the decision was made is personnel. We have 47 vacancies. As Bruce alluded to earlier, people keep talking about the 574. And, I have 21, 22 folks at the airport, 21, 22 people in school system. So that knocks 45 right off the top. We have 123 square miles that we're responsible for. Approximately 500,000 calls for service a year. We dispatch on about 190,000 of those calls. We took 16,400, 500 reports last year. And despite all of that, we were able to have a 4.98% decrease in crime, given the challenges that you all are aware of. And the decisions that I make when you're struggling with those kind of things, there are no painless answers. Because everything that you ask me to do in lieu of moving the COP, someone else is going to feel the pain. Well, I've been told, well, let's take why don't you do the SROs? So then what's going to be the answer when we are not in the community centers, when we're not at the Boys and Girls Club, for these kids that we're concerned about, that we say that are the future of our city, when we're not doing the programs on how to interact with the police, bullying, conflict resolution, those kinds of things that don't seem important until you're in the school wrestling with that same kid. So there are no easy answers to what we have when you have 47 vacancies. Now, against my best judgment, I struggled as to whether or not I was going to say this. But to have a chief in here answering a question about a personnel decision of moving 4 officers in a political arena is dangerous.
So my question is really, it's only 4 officers?
4 officers that were moved from the southwest, which is the area of town that has felt the brunt of that. The reason for that, 3 of those officers were lower on the seniority ranking, and when we're changing off days, when we're changing your location that you report, what's the fair way to do that, to say, hey, John, hey, Jim, hey, Jane, we're going to have to move you?
But why would they all come from Southwest?
Because that's where the seniority, they happen to all rank lower on the seniority poll in the Southwest Division.
Okay. Yeah, but let's clarify. They didn't all, the 4 that were moved, Southwest Little Rock still has 2 that were assigned there. Isn't that correct?
That's correct.
Right.
Downtown has 4. Northwest has 2.
Okay, so you only moved 4 officers total to the River Market.
4 officers total. They had a vacancy of 7 at a time that our city is getting ready to get an influx of people to the downtown area.
I didn't have that information. What I got was that all the COP officers were moved to the River Market.
I don't think our memo said that.
Yeah. That's what I got was from the neighborhood. I mean, that was my first idea that there was anything going on.
And the gentleman who was speaking about the Spanish, Mr. Tobler, who's been very instrumental in helping us with the Hispanic community. We've given him a flexible schedule. We've given him the ability to work overtime for any initiative that they come up with, that they need to have a meeting, that they need to have some kind of session, some kind of facilitator. We've given them the latitude to give him the flexibility to do that. I challenged you to look over the history, for those of you who have been here, to see who's done more in their entire tenure than I've done in 1 year with the Hispanic community.
Well, I feel like you're preaching at me, and I'm really looking for information because I have a lot of folks that are really upset about this. And as I said in my note last week, it's a bitter pill to swallow when we move COP officers from Southwest Little Rock to the River Market downtown. I mean, that just does not sit well.
And please don't take me as preaching to you, but I would be lying to you if I told you that I'm not disappointed that I have to answer the question on why I moved 4 police officers.
Let me interject, Chief.
Well, I think that's unfair.
Yeah,
I really think that's unfair, and I think the board should have known that you were moving our COP officers before you did it. I don't think I should have heard that from a neighborhood person from Southwest Little Rock that said all the COP officers are moving. That was obviously misinformation. I'm only finding out tonight that it was only 4. But I am disappointed that they all 4 were from Southwest. It seems like that we have a pretty good thing going. Our crime rates are lower, or they have been in the past, than the other 2 substations, and we want it to continue. Our Officer Morgan that's out there, he can go into a neighborhood association meeting and listen to the neighborhood and start tackling problems that prevents crimes from happening. And he works with the COP, he works with the code enforcement officer, and then our facilitator staff in the resource center. And I can tell you're irritated with these questions.
Oh, ma'am, not at all.
It's just something that I think the history that we've had with COP, it's just something I think that you need to communicate to us so we can tell our citizens what the situations are.
Director Wire, let me just interject here, and so we can be clear, and I think this is correct. All 4 of those officers are not coming from Southwest Little Rock.
That's correct.
I think even the fact, I think it's Officer Morgan is staying.
I'm not sure the name.
If I can remember the seniority list.
The girl is going to River Market. I can't think of her name.
But there were 4 in
total.
And in Southwest Little Rock, downtown had 6. They're going down to 4. Southwest Little Rock had 4. They're going down to 2, and Northwest keeps 2. So that's the breakout the chief wanted, and we thought it was very important to keep the component of COP. So Northwest keeps their 2, Southwest has 2, and downtown has 2. So downtown and Southwest lost 2 officers.
Okay. I didn't know that till just now, right this minute.
So, and I tried to clarify that in that document that I sent out yesterday.
Well, I read documents, but I didn't see where it said. I didn't see that information. In fact, I have them right here in front of me, but I didn't see that breakdown. But I just wanted that to be told to the citizens that watch our program, as others have citizens that are viewing the board actions, and I just think that's something important that we need to share with our citizens. We passed a sales tax that said we're going to increase our police protection, and from just this one issue alone, it doesn't look like we're increasing, we're decreasing.
Would you agree that it pales in comparison to answering 911 calls?
No.
So you put those on equal footing?
No. See, I think you're being combative with me, and I'm
asking you a logical question.
I'm really not trying to be combative. I'm trying to get information to share. I mean, I don't know if the rest of the board knows these answers or not, but I'm seeking information.
And let me just say this. And I think Chief Buckner would echo this. He believes, and as this board does, believes in the concept of COP, and we're gonna continue COP. This is a temporary move to try to address an uptick in a particular area, and I've seen this shift happen when we need to put resources in the area. If everybody didn't get the memo, we're also going to have another certified class later this year, and then we're going to start having multiple classes again in 2016.
Big answer.
Yeah.
Multiple academies.
And the goal of that, as I was saying earlier, the original goal was to get us back up to where we needed to be. We know we're going to lose 20 to 25 a year. and then we could start and this was Chief Thomas's concept, to have our one class a year that would start in June. We get past the college kids getting out of school, so we were able to get a higher caliber of folks. But we just had, as somebody said earlier, we had a lot of people reach that 28 and said, we're going to retire, and so. But that's what we're going to do to address the problem. We're also going to hire over the authorized strength because we know we're going to lose X number in the academies. So I think we're headed in the right direction as far as getting it. And I agree with the mayor. We want to increase the overall strength in COP.
I look forward to us doing that. And Chief, I understand you have very difficult decisions to make.
We're being kicked out.
And I appreciate the work you're doing. I've supported you in every endeavor that you have tried to do since you've been in the city. I still support you, but I do like information on situations like this.
I think
that's a sign.
I think that's a sign.
there was,
But I did, yeah. We're off, but
Bruce,
I think,
is there some automatic cutoff?
No, I think what this problem we had last time, that I think that you might not have been here, but we had a technical issue, so we're probably
Probably at midnight, I guess.
No, they're not.
they're not.
Oh, they can hear.
Well-
Okay, well,
Let me.
there are several board members that wish to speak, so since we're going to set an
I'll be
all-nighter
brief.
here, Director Wright was first, and then Director Adcock, then Director Webb.
I'll be brief, and I'm going to direct myself to the city manager about this because I feel that that's the most appropriate thing to do. My citizens are concerned about the COP, and my concern is that when we went out and made presentations on this sales tax, people were in particular told that police and fire would be our priorities, and that's what they're expecting. Now, when we get ready to pass something else, we'll have to explain this, and it'd be a heck of a lot easier to explain it if we explain it to them as we go along and these changes are being made. And no disrespect to the chief, and I can see why he would be frustrated. Well, it's just 4 people to you, but I'm looking at a community center, whereas to me, private security could handle that. It doesn't have to be a Little Rock police officer. In my opinion. And
I know, but I don't want to do that.
What a constituent would say. Why are we having Little Rock police officers or SROs at community centers when they could be out in the neighborhood and you could have private security in these places? But all I'm saying is, Mr. Moore, this issue will be an issue when we try to renew the sales tax or pass anything else, because people are going to be asking you, telling us that you did not do what you promised us you were going to do, and this is a real problem.
Okay, thank you. We're back on. So, Director Adcock, if you'll hit your button, please. If you'll hit your button, please. Kathy. There you go.
I think in Southwest Little Rock, we are losing 3 of ours, but you're bringing 1 in from someplace else to make our 2. But 3 of our officers are leaving that's been working in the community. I don't understand why the SROs are going to go into youth programs that we're paying for those youth programs and take care of a few kids when they could be out in the neighborhoods and taking care of multiple kids. And those are the kids that are running loose in the neighborhood. If you have a program, those kids are being taken care of. But instead, you've got our SROs on those programs in our neighborhoods without officers watching after the young people.
I asked Mr. Moore to give us an update on how not only the quantity of SROs, but what they're being assigned to do this summer. So I expect we'll be getting a memorandum on that. Director Webb, you're recognized, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Also for Bruce, I think you said that there were still going to be 2 in the downtown division, but the Officer Crace is being removed from Capitol View Stiff Station, I believe. Is that correct?
To go to Northwest, correct. And this isn't the case in every personnel move that is made in the city. But in the case of police and fire, and it's been a standard test of seniority comes into play, and that's been a proven system when transfers need to be made. So when the decision was made to look at this group, then you take if there needed to be 4 that needed to be transferred, you take the 4 with the less seniority. And that's the way it works throughout the police department. It's the way it works throughout the fire department. So again, the ultimate goal, and as soon as we can get there, we want to put those individuals back to where they were assigned if they wish to go. But that's the reason that we couldn't, because this particular officer had been in this area for 4 years, we couldn't go to the next person who had more seniority, and so it's a seniority system.
And I think the observation that probably should be made on this, and everybody, we play with rules and we have these traditional expectations, but I think one of the things you hear from the board is that our citizens are invested in that community atmosphere, that relationship of that personality of that police officer with the neighborhood. And that is critically important as a component of community-oriented policing. And so while I do respect the issue of seniority and the prerogative of the chief to make those decisions as he thinks best, because that's what we hired him to do, I do think that we should never forget the fact that when we do create those bonds between the community and our citizens, that's exactly what we want. And when we disrupt that, it causes people to be upset. And when they're upset, we are the ones that hear about it. So perhaps we can look at that in terms of how we balance that issue as sensitively as we can. Okay, Director, Vice Mayor Hines.